Laurie-Ann knows her stuff, like totally transformed the way that I've been running the speaking end of my business. It's completely changed my mindset about getting gigs. Oh my goodness, things took off like crazy. You taught me how to go out and actually get the gigs and get the gigs booked. It gave me this sense of ease and competency and this satisfaction and this assurance that now I know how to make this happen. And that confidence has improved my ability to sleep through the night. Marianne is so positive and so supportive. When you work with her, you feel like you've got her in your hip pocket. There's always this voice of encouragement that you can reach out for and just check, am I on the right track? And then when the results start to roll in, at least 300%. I mean, it's totally revolutionized everything. It's so much fun to get in front of a crowd of people and share who you are and share what you do. You do your thing. It's so much fun. And then afterwards, they all want to buy things from you. And then I get paid to speak quite well. And then I make my speaking fee and more selling my product.
Happy Thursday, everyone. This is Laurie-Ann, your host, and you are listening to Be in Demand. This is the podcast where I help entrepreneurs just like you leverage speaking opportunities as your best form of marketing, get positioned as the expert, and why not monetize your message? Today is a special speaker breakthrough session. Jesse, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. Good morning.
So, Jesse, before we get started, can you explain to me what you do and who you help?
I am a holistic coach, and I primarily help business owners, executives, and leaders overcome imposter syndrome and find real deep confidence in their leadership without needing to micromanage.
Why don't you just call yourself an executive coach?
I had an executive tell me that the style I do is called holistic coaching, so I rolled with it.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
So in the speaking world, what we
Mm-hmm.
say, and I think this goes for marketing and sales as well, is to sell them what they want and give them what they need. And I really think in your case, if you are trying to work with executives, they're going to be looking for an executive coach, not a holistic coach. I think
Right.
him or her saying that you're really a holistic coach, that might be your style of coaching.
Okay.
But let's just give the people what they want. Like
Oh,
this is what I do. Instead of making people try to figure out what you do. Because
yes.
I would imagine, so as soon as I hear the word holistic, I think of my holistic nurse practitioner.
Right.
He's more about supplements and me eating the right foods than my conventional nurse practitioner who is ready to pull out her prescription pad.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does that feel? Because I
It
know
feels
we just started.
Yeah,
It,
no, totally.
and I just
Let's
kind of
dive
like,
in. I
yeah,
love it. So right away, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's a much better fit. Because my techniques probably don't matter as much as explaining what I do right off the bat. And so calling myself a holistic coach, it's like you can find out that I'm holistic as you work with it and as you work with me, but that isn't it's a wishy-washy title too.
yeah. I want you to own it.
Mm.
Because an executive, so think about it this way. So with executive coaching, somebody within the organization is paying for their coaching most of the time, okay?
Yeah.
Or it could be like a tax deduction. But they're not going to go to their boss and say, I want to hire this holistic coach. Her name is Jesse, and she's going to help me with my leadership skills. The boss is going to be like crossing their arms, like, what?
Yeah.
And I only say this because I come from the executive leadership coaching industry. I was a speaker on leadership and corporate engagement. This is the world that
Mhm.
I came from. So if for somebody to actually go to their boss and say, there's this executive leadership coach, her name is Jesse, I would really like to work with her. What does it take? Like, where's the paperwork? How do we go about the company, like paying for this, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm. Yeah, I like that way better.
Feels better, doesn't it?
It does.
It feels like, like, and from the eyes of the boss, it's like, oh, okay, send me her information. Let's get her on board.
All right.
And then there's some things that you're going to have to do for the company to pay for it. Like they just need your paperwork, your EIN number, like stuff like that.
Yeah. And I got all that. So,
Okay. But a holistic, yeah. Okay. So we're good. We're
Mhm.
good with that. We're going to change your name.
Yes.
We're going to change your title. Okay. Here's the thing about imposter syndrome.
Hmm.
I believe that most executives don't even know what that is. And I say this from my experience of the clients that I worked with.
Hmm.
I always do 360s with them first. And you can see imposter syndrome come up in a 360. And I would bring it to their attention and say, what I'm seeing here is a little bit of imposter syndrome. Do you know what that is? Have you ever heard of it? And almost every executive would say to me, what's that? I've never heard of it.
All right.
So they're suffering from it. And I put the word suffering in air quotes, but they don't even know what it is. They've never heard of it. So let's give it a different name.
Okay.
What is something that they would understand? Like, we always want to put things in the words that the buyer can understand, which is why we're changing you from holistic to executive leadership. So
Totally.
in terms of, imposter syndrome, what else could you say?
So, one of the ways I describe it is effortless leadership, like, or a little bit not trusting your instincts, but I'll talk about like making bold decisions. And I also talk about leading instead of micromanaging.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, because it isn't about controlling the people that you work with. It's about empowering them to do their job so you don't have to.
I like that a lot because that's more corporate speak.
Okay.
Even the effortless leadership sounds a little
Mhm.
wishy-washy.
Got it. Okay.
It sounds cute.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, oh, wouldn't that be nice if leadership was effortless? But, like every leader knows, it's really not.
Mhm.
There's some stuff that you just have to do, but I really like leading versus micromanaging.
Okay.
It's so easy to understand.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a lot clearer. I like it.
Okay, so we've cleared up a couple of things.
Mhm.
Now let's get you on stages. Let's get you in front
All
of the right
right.
audiences. So my next question, and I ask a lot of
Yes.
people this, is there a particular industry that you enjoy working with?
So, not really. I've worked with people in financial, educational, healthcare, and I enjoy all of it. There is a particular individual that I like working with,
Ooh,
and
tell me
it's
more.
usually like the culture creators. The people, and I know that's wishy-washy, right? So here's what it is. I've worked with a lot with people who are interested in like the diversity, equity, and inclusion side, who are trying to improve or heal toxic workplaces, who are trying to conscious leadership is the term I hear a lot. I like working with, which again, wishy-washy, but those tend to be the identifiers that I found that all of my clientele that pick me and enjoy working with me and I enjoy working with them, they all would describe themselves in some way as conscious leaders or promoting positive workplace culture or something to that nature.
Well, conscious leadership, I think, is a term that people understand. So it's not
Okay.
as wishy-washy as holistic coach, which we
Definitely
started
not.
off we started out with, or effortless leadership. But I think
Mhm.
conscious leadership has been around for a while, so people do get that.
Mhm.
So thank you everybody else who's come before you.
Yeah.
I'm thinking in particular, I remember a particular gentleman who wrote a book, like on this. So all of these people that you have worked with
Mhm.
in different industries, this is
Mhm.
going to work to your advantage. You need to find out what conferences they go to.
Okay.
So if you have listened to any of the previous speaker breakthrough sessions, there's one thing that I seem to talk a lot about because speaking is a relationship business.
Mm-hmm.
It actually, I think every business except for emergency surgery is a relationship business. Okay.
Right.
Building the relationships with the people who can, you know, refer you and
Mm-hmm.
hire you.
Yeah.
So going back to each person and just reconnecting with them. I just like have coffee chats with people.
Okay.
Find out what's going on in their world, especially since they're your previous clients.
Yeah.
Literally could just be like, hey, I do this every once in a while. I just want to reconnect with you, see how things are going. Here's a link to book some time together.
All right. I love that.
This is like a no pressure. I just want to reconnect with you. And on those calls, literally, how has your leadership changed? It's been a year, 2 years, 3 years since we worked together.
Mm-hmm.
How are things different? What are you doing differently? Just gather information from them. And then also tell them, here's what I'm doing that's new. And I'm also speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, what kind of conferences or what particular conferences do you attend? And you can just let them know, I'm just doing research.
Okay.
I'm asking all my clients what conferences they go to. I'm looking for a theme.
Yeah, that's a good one. I love that.
So connection calls is a big thing so that then you can, now that you've reconnected with people, you can then, like every 6 months, you just keep sending them a message.
Okay.
So you're also top of mind. That way, if they ever get into that point where it's just like, I was thinking about Jesse just last week because they want to come back, but suddenly like your email appears in their inbox,
Mm-hmm.
so they may rehire. That's another way for you to get rehired, or they may be on a committee putting together a conference or a workshop day, or something like within the company or within an association. And hey, I was thinking about you just last week. I cannot tell you how many times I have gotten booked to speak just because of that alone.
Okay.
Happened to get my email.
Yeah.
And so you can just be reaching out to people.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
what speaking history experience do you have?
So I don't have a ton of conference speaking history outside of education. I have all the way up to my doctorate, and I've done like I've taught classes at like um high school and then like adult education levels. Um and so I've done a ton of like lesson planning, building, engaging an audience, keeping people together is as a teacher essentially with different modalities of teaching. And then I have spoken to a few like women in business groups, the smaller things, just shorter presentations. Um, and I've started doing some speaking outside of this career. I've taught some of my training. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. And so I talk about women's health and particularly like intimacy with menopause and perimenopause. And it's a kind of a special topic I'm really interested in.
Mhm.
So I've done a few health conferences talking about that.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, how do I use all that stuff to move forward and get really into this leadership lane?
Exactly.
So do you have pictures when you spoke at those health conferences?
A few, but not as many as I should.
Okay. Do you have a website?
I do.
Okay, good. Do you have a speaker page? Nope. Okay. Go back last
Mhm.
fall. I can't remember the exact episode number, but it is titled 7 Essentials That You Need for Your Speaker Page.
Okay.
Go and listen to that episode. Next would be, you can go through all of your pictures, because one of the things that meeting planners or whoever is going to hire you to bring you into their conference, their company to speak, they need evidence that you are a speaker.
Mhm.
And I get asked all the time, like, how do I become a paid speaker? Well, first of all, you have to look like a paid speaker. So your pictures need to be good. Now, the fact that you spoke for a physical therapy, that's okay
Mhm.
because we can just use the picture. Even if you had video of it, this is what I tell a lot of clients also, even if the video quality isn't great, we don't have to hear the sound either, where you're talking about menopause. Like
Yeah.
like a meeting planner just wants to see, oh, she can speak in front of 100, 200 people, maybe even.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I've spoken at women's conferences, not about what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Picture of me in front of 600 people. So a meeting planner knows she's not going to get up on the stage, get up to the microphone, and then freeze. That's what
Right.
they're concerned about.
Okay. That I can
Okay.
demonstrate. Yeah.
Great. Great. So I want you to go through all of your pictures
Mhm.
and start putting more of your pictures of you speaking on your website. And I
Okay.
want you to have a speaker page. If we have to do more branding photos, do more branding photos,
Okay.
but look like a paid speaker.
All right.
Like you'll hear a lot when you listen to that episode about testimonials, like being able to use logos or different industries that you've spoken for,
Mhm.
be able to list all that information.
Got it.
That's
Yeah, I have a
for
one sheet which I got through my
Mhm.
friend, so I do have that. Because I have a friend who does a lot of paid speaking now. And she was interested in potentially again referring me to something. Um, but I hadn't made it part of my like a speaker page as part of my website. So I will go back and do that because
Good.
that's
Now,
definitely key.
now, this is really interesting since you brought up your friend, and I love that your friend wants to refer you because building relationships is also important to build relationships with other speakers. I don't
Mhm.
know if you know, but once a month I host a mini training called the Speaker Circle.
Okay.
And that is at speakandstandout.com/community. And there is one next week. And so part of it, like I do a training, but it's also designed for everybody who attends to be building relationships with each other
Yeah.
because you want to build relationships with other speakers. So what does your friend speak on?
She speaks on diversity, equity, and inclusion and how to not be that. Or, I mean, I think her main speech is something like how to not be that guy. She's a comedian as well. So she's super funny and she does this great job of explaining, like, you don't want to be that guy in the room, right? And how to be curious about other cultures without being super offensive. And she makes it really fun, which is awesome.
Nice. Okay, so that's very complimentary to what you do, which is leadership.
Hmm.
Hmm. And so the two of you could be going back and forth, referring each other.
Definitely.
Okay, so I'd love for you also to find a few more people that you can be referring those types of gigs to. Because once you have, if somebody is referring you to an organization, a conference that they already spoke for, I mean, they can literally email introduce you to the person who hired them.
Yeah.
And whoever hired them, I mean, it is such a task to find a good speaker. And they know they can't keep bringing in the same speakers as last year because then it's like a rerun of the same conference as last year.
Yeah.
Then people stop paying attention.
Right.
So this is what I always do as a speaker. Hey, can I help you? Feel free, like speakers know speakers. I know a lot of speakers. If there's a particular type of topic that you're looking for, let me know. And I've had a
Okay.
lot of meeting planners and conference organizers tap into me and say, this is what we need. This is the type of person
Okay.
that we're looking for. Sure. Let me go through my speaker Rolodex. So
Perfect.
being of service, not just on the stage.
Yes. And that I think I do well in my business, but it's like it's something that applies everywhere, right? So awesome. I love that.
And get good video. But again, when you listen to that episode, you'll hear me say that again.
Yep.
So how was this? Was this all very helpful?
Oh my God, I have like a whole page of notes. This was super helpful. Yes. Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, I need to clear that up on my website, clear up my LinkedIn, update that profile, really like, oh yeah, I have like 10 actionable steps. This has been immensely helpful. I really appreciate it.
Wonderful, wonderful. So what's one or two gold nuggets that you're walking away with today?
That I'm an executive leadership coach. And the fact that I have a holistic approach is like cute fluff for later down the line, but they don't need to know that. That's not my profile, right? That's not my headline. That's a huge one. And I think the other big takeaway is that I know what imposter syndrome is, but I need to show people, here's how that's showing up in your life. Are you micromanaging instead of really leading?
Yes.
Like, what are you experiencing day to day if you've never heard these terms? And I think there's a lot of stuff throughout my copywriting that I'm going to have to go through and be like, okay, wait, what are you experiencing day to day that lets me know that you have that, even if you don't know?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
So where can people find you, follow you, learn more about you? Because we're all about, sharing, like speakers, like with others.
Yeah, absolutely. So my website right now, which is definitely getting revamped, is reclaimyourlifesomatics.com. And that's why I have the somatic skills. A lot of the tools that I use are body-based. But you can follow me on Instagram at Reclaim Your Life Somatic, or I am Jesse Glaze, DPT at LinkedIn, or Dr. Jesse Glaze on LinkedIn.
Can I make another suggestion?
Please.
I want you to get your name as your URL.
I've wondered about that. I've seen a lot of it, and I think,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you
And
think Jesse Glaze or Dr. Jesse Glaze? Does the doctor matter?
I think do it without, domains are cheap. It's good to just have it, and you could always redirect it in case somebody does know, but she is a doctor.
Mhm.
I would definitely look it up, snag them both. If for some reason they are taken, then I would put Jesse Glaze speaker or speaker or even coach before your name.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's taken.
It's not a super common name.
No, I wouldn't think so, but just in case, because I would rather you just have the domain and not do Jesse-Glaze. Is that how you pronounce your last name? It's just Glaze, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Instead, because the dash could throw people off, and like when you're up there on stage, and go to Jesse-Glaze. I mean,
Right.
just
Long
it's
dash, short dash.
cumbersome.
Yeah.
Right, right. Definitely snag your name because you're a speaker.
Awesome. I will do that.
Okay. Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Are you tired of hearing crickets on social media? Wondering where to get seen by the right people? Or frustrated with the growth of your business? Then the Speaker Breakthrough Session is just for you. During this free 20-minute discovery call, I'll help you recognize where you're leaving money and opportunity on the table. You'll walk away with tips and a strategy to leverage speaking opportunities to get positioned as the expert, visible to the right people, and monetize your expertise. Book your call at speakandstandout.com/SBS for Speaker Breakthrough Session.